Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphaneme. Okay, let's get right to the business here. This is from newsbtc.com and it's titled, John E. Deaton claims XRP is the top altcoin with a comeback story. Yeah, I don't think that's debatable. It's a heck of a comeback story, but it has to be cemented once that judge says, hey, XRP is not a security. Once that judge comes back and says, hey, Ripple has won its case, right? That's when it will be cemented as that. But as of right now, yeah, there's nothing close, even without that. So now let's, I mean, if you're talking about price, of course, look at what the price is doing right now. Although, like I said before, listen, I'm here for the banks. I'm here for the big money later, right? The small surges in price is good, is great. And listen, a lot of people, like I said, at some point, people are going to start scraping profit. That's going to happen. There's going to be a pullback. But the run up, all the build up, that's not when the small businesses start stepping in, that's when you're going to see that first explosion. We've talked about this many times. Then when the banks step in, the commercial banks, then you're going to see another explosion, and there's going to be a scramble amongst the small banks. Then the central banks come in. That's the tsunami. There's different levels of explosions for XRP. This is what a lot of people are not talking about with newcomers. And there's a ton of newcomers because, as I said, they see the price and they're coming in now. They don't know really anything about XRP other than the price is going up. They don't know anything, but so yeah. So if you're looking at the price, yes, the price looks great. It's fun time. Even XLM price went up a little bit. Fun times to see that green. It says Ripple's native token, a comeback coin, claims Deaton. It says founder of crypto law, John E. Deaton, has termed XRP the best comeback coin amidst altcoins in the cryptocurrency industry. In a recent tweet, the attorney cited XRP's resilience amid criticisms and attacks from regulators and industry leaders. Well, that's mostly because everybody knows the potency of the use cases, the utility. You can't get around that. And it's so crazy that any company building on XRPL can access that utility. Boom. I mean, they're going to do very well. And the people know that. They see the partnerships that are being made right now. They see the power that's being grabbed by entities building on the XRPL. I mean, let's put Ripple to the side. Look at what Volante is doing, right? You just take Volante Tech, which the next chapter is going to be about Volante. I mean, they're doing tremendous things. Let's continue on here. It says, according to Deaton, XRP earned its title as the comeback coin since it remained relevant even through periods of low momentum. Okay, I see where he's going with that. That's, once again, they had a study that was done, and they had determined that XRP holders, I would throw XLM holders in there. There's a lot of crossover, but they determined that XRP holders were among some of the most intelligent crypto investors. Okay, going by that, there is a huge, even though we're quiet, the research community is quiet. All the other sectors of XRP community get way more shine than the researchers, but there's a huge swath of researchers out there, right? They're going based on things they've seen. Seeing is believing. Understanding what you've seen goes even further, and they're constantly trying to understand the use cases, the partnerships, who's the head of this company that people are partnering with. I mean, they're doing tremendous research, just like I do. I'm just one amongst many. So once you have that type of understanding, it becomes easy to believe in a certain in a certain commodity's price going up. Just like gold and silver, which, by the way, we're going to have a chapter about silver at the end. You're going to want to watch that one. Oh, yes. I mean, that's, of course, if you're a silver enthusiast, of course, right? But it's the same thing, understanding how it's being used, why it's going to become rare. And then that, of course, is going to could possibly lend to the price going up. What we're seeing now in XRP is nothing. This is nothing. It's fun. It's fun. It's been red for a while. This is nothing compared to what is to come. Nothing. That's just my humble opinion. My humble opinion. You do not have to agree with me. You don't have to feel the way that I feel. But when those small businesses get in, commercial banks get in, central banks get in, and they're waiting, then you're going to see explosion. Just my humble opinion. Let's go here. says, in his tweet, Deaton highlighted XRP's challenges while citing Ripple's backlash when it first marketed XRP as a liquidity solution for banks. Yes, but I think people have much bigger things to worry about now. They are attacking Bitcoin. I think there was a lot of tussling going on between the XRP community and the Bitcoin community for a long time. Right now, both communities have their plate full. Bitcoin community, they're getting attacked left and right. Holy smokes. Every time they think they're in the clear, some regulator or governmental official comes out and just starts attacking Bitcoin. They just won't let. Listen, this is why all of crypto should stick together. All the legit crypto communities should stick together, even though they're not. Tribalism is something terrible, but they're all getting attacked wholesale. So yeah, so that has subsided a little bit. And I think that there's more understanding, there's more crossover and understanding now. And the idea has spread that there's enough money to go around, which we've been saying for a long time, right? So now let's move on here. Let's move on to another article here, right to the Volante. Volante Technologies, they never cease to impress me. They always are having big things happen. This tweet says this here. It says, congratulations to Peter Larson, Volante's practice lead for Europe and Nordics, on his appointment as chair of the stakeholder forum at Nordic Payments Council. Yes, yes, yes. Volante, keep doing a good job. I don't understand. I don't know if people understand how big that is. He's become chair of the stakeholder forum at Nordic Payments Council. Keep in mind, this is just the beginning. This is where we're starting. We're seeing Volante grab a lot of power and influence. We're also seeing in other areas of the Bankcoin family, the new financial system, you see Quant also accumulating a lot of power. Then you see Stellar also accumulating a lot of power. There's reasons for this, folks. There's reasons for this. And you've seen also, we go over to Algorand, you've seen Silvio Macaulay making a lot of appearances. Remember what I'm telling you. Silvio Macaulay only comes out when there's big money involved and deals to close, people to impress, and they need to 100% impress who's in the audience and bring them over to our side. That's the only time. We're seeing so much happen right now. The new financial system is steaming ahead. It's looking good. I'm very excited, right? So now let's move on here. And once again, don't have to feel the way that I feel. You don't have to agree with me. That's perfectly fine. This article here is from coinedition.com and it's titled, Sergio Amati returns as UBS CEO to lead Credit Suisse acquisition. So obviously UBS is one of our banks, one of our RippleNet users. Let's read this little tidbit here, because this could be very impactful, obviously, if ever this happens. And, UBS is utilizing on-demand liquidity, Xcurrent, Xrapid, whatever. I think they're going to use everything. I think all of these banks eventually going to use all the offerings of RippleNet or all the offerings on as far as all the mechanisms on the XRPL. And so now them acquiring Credit Suisse, even though Credit Suisse did a terrible job, that's a lot of capital. If ever a modicum of that is flowing through the XRPL, I definitely think that could have a huge impact on the price, but you have to stay up on the catalyst and see for yourself. Is it happening? Is it going to happen? And stay current on that, or else you won't know when that price could be impacted. This is why we do research and try to stay up to date on the news. It says here, sources have reported that Sergio Amati has been brought back as the CEO of UBS Group AG to lead its significant acquisition of Credit Suisse. This unexpected decision aims to capitalize on his expertise in restructuring the bank after the worldwide financial crisis. This is great. As I said before, if you remember when all this first happened, I was saying that I'm not sure if they had a plan on how to reorganize everything, how to structure it. And now we see, I think I was correct, because they're bringing back in a heavy hitter. They're bringing the heavy hitter back in who has the view, the vision, the level of organization and discipline to put everything where it needs to be. This is what I want to see. I don't want anything dragging any of these banks down that we have association with. We need them to thrive so that they can hand that money over when it's time. You get what I'm saying? So It says, as CEO of UBS Group AG, Sergio Ermati will face several pressing challenges, including implementing workforce reductions affecting thousands of employees and the downsizing of Credit Suisse's investment bank. Yeah, but I hate the way that that's phrased, because that's not something that Mr. Ermati can really feel bad about, because Credit Suisse was in charge of all of that and they fumbled the ball. It really is on them. It's not on him. He has to make the best decisions now to make sure that in this acquisition, UBS is not negatively affected. It says, additionally, he will need to restore confidence among high net worth individuals, ensuring that UBS remains the preferred destination for their investments. I think that he definitely can do that, in my humble opinion. April 5th, UBS has been doing very well, which hence the acquisition. The current chairman of Swiss Re, Ermati, will assume leadership. Previously, Ermati served as chief executive of UBS from 2011 to 2020. Following the announcement of his appointment, pre-market activity on the Zurich Stock Exchange showed UBS shares indicated 2.3% higher. Moreover, Ermati will take over the reins just weeks after UBS acquired Swiss bank Credit Suisse, a sudden merger arranged by Swiss authorities to mitigate instability following Credit Suisse's struggles. Okay, so we're going to leave that there. Once again, that's on coinedition.com, right on their front page. Let's move on here. So now we have a little bit of Stellar related news. We're getting a lot of information coming out of BIT. I think once we have regulatory clarity, whenever that happens, I think they're sitting on a lot of announcements about digital currency, national digital currency, CBDCs. They've been very active. Let's read this little tidbit here. It says, launching a CBDC requires commitment, resilience, challenges will come, innovation. It takes innovation, really, and a thoughtful strategy to meet the moment. We salute at ECCB Connects and at Sinbank for launching during the redacted. I don't know why you would salute them for launching during the that's not the way I think that it should be gone about, because you're trying to implement something when people are vulnerable, and they know that. They don't like that. People don't like, even if it's in retrospect, people don't like to feel being taken advantage of. One thing that a lot of institutions, governments, politicians get wrong is never let a good crisis go to waste. You're trying to take advantage of the weakness of the people while a crisis is going on. That I don't respect. And the people come to that understanding, and they say to themselves, wait, if this is good, why do you have to try to slide it in secretly or where we can't resist it? Like, see, so it would be better for business just to be straightforward, treat the people with some respect. If you deploy it and they want to use it, let them use it. If you deploy it and they don't want to use it, so be it. There are ways around that. There's ways that you can still benefit. The problem is that a lot of institutions are just completely they're control freaks. Like, they want control over everything. That's the problem. So, but let me move on from that. But I didn't like the way that was phrased. Just because you're working in association with a project that I like, Stellar, doesn't mean I have to agree with every single thing that a company says or does, right? That's just being realistic. Now, it says, and encourage the Bank of Ghana to stay the course. It's worth it. You're going to say that. I mean, is BIT a for-profit? I mean, it's in your best interest to say that, because your business is the deployment of CBDCs. But once again, listen, I have to think about the people on the ground. Simple as that. That's just how I think, right? So when it comes to the Bank of Ghana, if they feel comfortable enough to continue on, continue. If not, there's many other banks around the world, countless thousands of banks that you can do digital currencies for. You can act as agnostic bridge currencies. You can set up infrastructures for. You can do smart contracts for. It just goes on and on and on, but it has to be good for the people. And Ghana would know what's best for their people. That's another thing. I don't like when companies try to tell a country or a government or a people what's best for them, and you're not there, you're not on the ground, you don't know their circumstances. I don't know. That's just personally how I think. However, the positive here is BIT is still continuing to move forward. They're staying active. They're keeping communications open with these banks. They're trying to expand activity. Right. So, I mean, that is a good thing. So I'm trying to take a balanced approach to this. Right. So now let's move on here. Let's move on to a little bit of Velo. Velo has been extremely active as well. I'm very excited let me put Velo to the side for a moment. I want to see what Ultra Stellar is going to be doing. That's what I really want to see, but we have to give them some time. They said a lot of big stuff is coming, so I really want to see more activity on the Stellar chain. I mean, there's been a lot. Don't get me wrong. There's been a lot. I want to see more, right? But let's get back to Velo here. This is what they tweeted out. It says, incoming, new look Velo Finance website and Warp cross-chain bridge release. We're constantly updating and growing our hashtag Web3 Plus ecosystem. Yeah, because Web3, there's going to be a lot of money flowing through Web3. Like I said, long time ago, many banks are going to close their physical offerings and they will have a metaverse, Web3, virtual, whichever terminology you want to use. They will have an offering there, right? Their tellers will operate there. And they will save a ton of money doing so. And yes, utilizing distributed ledger technologies, which will run Web3. So it says here, hashtag Warp will be available to Valorians. I guess this is what they're calling their people. Valorians very soon. Okay, so, good activity, good positive activities from Velo. So let's continue on here. So a little bit of activity from Algorand. It says here, big day for Algorand and all hashtag developers. Huge shout out to our CTO at John Allen Wood. Of course, says you know him. Of course we know. We know John Allen Wood. Our rockstar head of tooling, Low DN, or our amazing hashtag DevRel team. I have such an issue reading these hashtags and ats. They're all like mangled and there's acronyms and oh my word. Led by the always there for you at Jason Weathersby, Paul Regal, and the boss of developers. So it says here, this is the subtweet. Hello world, ALGO Kit is here. We're excited to launch the world's most comprehensive, easy to use developer tool suite for building Web3 applications on Algorand. So you see everybody's going crazy over Web3. It's the latest gold rush, so to speak. You get in there early, and establish yourself, set up your infrastructures, bring in the developers, and once Web3 is up and running and all that capital is flowing, all that business is coming through, these types of businesses, these types of offering like Algorand, who are wise to get in early, they will be the greatest benefiters, right? It says ALGO Kit was designed to be an easy on-ramp for Web2 developers looking to switch to Web3. So that's another thing. Algorand continues to make it easier to do everything. Easy, right? And that is important. People have enough of a workload already. If we're going to add something new, if we're going to have to learn something new at this point, it's in everyone's best interest to make it as easy as possible to absorb that information and then deploy on chain, right? So now let's move on here. So now we have an article. This is from the Global Blockchain Business Council, right? They put out this little infographic here, but let's read this little tidbit first. Algorand is involved. Obviously, Hedera is as well. I wasn't certain that Hedera was a part of this, but it says here, as part of the Global Blockchain Business Council, continuing endeavors to break down complex blockchain concepts into easily digestible visualizations, GBBC has introduced varied sets of infographics expanding on specific subjects within the industry. Web3, we go Web3 again. The third generation of the internet is based on decentralized networks and enabled by using emerging technologies, including blockchain, tokenization, AI, metaverse, and more. All right, so let's scroll down here because I want to take a look at this, right? In their finance section, banking and finance, they have Algorand. This is very, very good. Then if you look at healthcare, now this is where it's interesting. If you look at healthcare, it says Hedera. They have an offering on Hedera for the healthcare section. I'm very surprised, but this is good. Listen, I'm heavy in both. I like both companies, Algorand and Hedera. They're both bank coins. Whichever one takes off, I win. I hope they both take off. However, I'll say this. I'm actually surprised. There's a lot of healthcare offerings on Algorand. MaPay or MaPay is one of them, right? So I'm surprised they weren't in both categories, but anyway, this was very, very good to see. Very good to see. Hedera and Algorand make the list for real world use cases of Web3. All right, so now let's continue on here. All right, now before we get into this next article here, all right, I'm gonna give you a little bit of random stuff here. I'm gonna help you out. I gotta help you out a little bit, right? So let me give you 3 recommendations for awesome movies. Yeah, that's right, I'm gonna tell you some awesome movies, right? Now, I don't know. Some old school people might have seen some of these movies already, but these are classics. If you haven't seen them, they're great, great storylines, great action. Number one, The Lost Boys with Kiefer Sutherland. If you haven't seen The Lost Boys, I mean, this is a sort of a horror movie. It's a little bit of horror involved. It's a vampire movie. A little bit of a horror movie involved. A little bit of a love story involved. There's a brotherly dynamic also going on in there. I mean, it's just, the acting is tremendous. The 80s music, I love it. Everything about it is epic. Lost Boys, all right? And I don't know if they remade it. Look, listen, don't watch any remake. Watch the one, what was it, 1989? I don't know what it is. It'll be either late 80s or early 90s. That one, all right? Great movie, right? That's number one, Lost Boys. Number two, I don't know if you like Westerns or not, but let me tell you something. Watch Tombstone. The acting is superb. I mean, they have a A-list cast. And the Doc Holliday in that movie is the best Doc Holliday I've ever seen, played by Val Kilmer. I mean, listen, if one performance can get you into the list of all-time great actors, it would be that performance right there as Doc Holliday. I'll be your Huckleberry. Oh, man, it's just great. Tombstone, number three. What am I going to choose for number three movie? Number three movie that I would recommend. I'm trying to think of something that's not typically put out there. All right, you know what? I'm going to go with the movie Heat. Heat from, I think it was 1995, 1996? I was a young one at that time. But that movie, I remember watching it like, ooh, the acting is tremendous. You have Al Pacino, the great Al Pacino. You have the great Robert De Niro. Heat, listen, back then, that shootout scene that they did there, I was watching like it was just a little too realistic. I'm telling you right now. The way they carried it out was like almost like a military style as they covered each other and they were running from car to car. Oh man. Anyway, so what do we have? Number one, Lost Boys. Number two, Tombstone. Number three, Heat by Michael Mann. Okay. Boom. There you go. That's three good movies right there. I helped you out a little bit. You know, you had to sit down with the Don. I helped you out a little bit. All right. So now let's move on to this next article here. This is from news.bitcoin.com. All right. It's titled Former Treasury Official Warns of Complete Economic Implosion if US Dollar Loses Global Reserve Currency Status. Let's scroll down here just for a little bit here. It says Monica Crowley, former Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs for the U.S. Department of Treasury, explained on Fox News Saturday what would happen if emerging economies move away from the U.S. dollar towards the Chinese yuan. And the U.S. dollar is no longer the world's dominant currency. This is something we've been talking about a lot over the last few weeks. I think many people should be talking about it, probably are. It says here, quote, it's really hard to overstate exactly how catastrophic the abandonment of the US dollar would be as the world's global reserve currency. Crowley explained that since World War II, the dollar has been considered a safe haven. Initially, it was backed by gold. That we know. Let's scroll down here to see if we get to something we don't know. The former Treasury official added that another important factor is, quote, the fact that oil has been traded in dollars, quote, warning, quote, if that were to end, that would mean the end of the U.S. dollar, emphasizing, unquote, emphasizing that the U.S. dollar having the world's reserve currency status, quote, has been a real privilege, unquote, she expressed. Quote, we've abused the privilege by wholly reckless monetary and fiscal policy for so many years, certainly over the past couple of years, which has really devalued the dollar. Crowley continued, quote, on top of that, now you do have this perfect storm of redacted's weakness, his war on American domestic energy production. We discussed that as well. Didn't I say that? Take out the names and the people and look at what's happening, right? And you can see how the dollar is being weakened. It says the redacted war. Because of all of these things, we've got America's enemies led by redacted, forming a new economic bloc. Let's scroll down here. This is getting heated. Oh man, this person's really telling it all. Former Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs added that since we are at a pivotal moment, quote, all it would take at this point is for Saudi Arabia. Keep this in mind. We read something like this before from another expert, another pro. All it would take at this point is for Saudi Arabia, who has indicated that they are open to this, to say, you know what? We're going to be open to considering other currencies to trade in oil, quote, Crowley warned. Quote, if that were to happen, there will be a complete implosion of the global economic system, but certainly the American economic system. I think mostly the American economic system. And if that were to happen, you'd be looking at sky high inflation. Didn't I say this? I said this in a video maybe about a week ago about hyperinflation. If this were to occur, now you have a pro saying it. You have an expert saying it. Former Treasury official saying it. So, so it says, but more importantly, we would lose our economic dominance and we would lose our superpower status. It says, if you think inflation is bad right now, just wait. That's what that individual is saying. OK, we'll try to stay privy and abreast of the situation, and we will see how everything plays out. But protect yourself at all times. Be careful out there. So now, I covered Casper in 2 videos, I believe, last week. I had a request. And we did 2 chapters in 2 different videos about Casper. I've had another request about Casper. This Casper Labs is becoming popular, I suppose. Oh, man. And I see why. They're a solid company with solid partnerships. Their use case is absolutely amazing. So they continue to draw the eye of people. And so this was another request, all right? I'm honoring a request. So this is from CasperLabs.io. And this article is titled Skybridge Capital's Anthony Scaramucci on why he partnered with Casper Labs. Now, we all know Anthony Scaramucci because he's one of the OG people, one of our originals from being an Algorand enthusiast. Granted, he hasn't been in as long as we have, but he's one of the originals. So we're very familiar with this individual, but that's not what's important. What's important is what he says. Let me read this little tidbit here. It says, what excites you most about Casper? It says, a lot of things excite me about Casper. I'll start with the technology. It's a platform built to usher in the next generation of enterprise software, which will be highly reliant on authentication, verification, and decentralization. This thing is going to be powerful. I'm telling you now. He's not the only. I'm reading this because he's not the only one I'm hearing say this. But let's continue on. It says, nobody is tackling these areas with the level. That's important. The level of specificity and technological prowess that I've seen from Casper Labs team. This really jumped out to my research team as we were looking deeper into Casper ahead of formalizing this partnership. Casper Labs, he's getting in early. He's getting in early. Smart move. Casper Labs gets how enterprises work, and they've built an impressive product that caters directly to that reality. It's why I believe they're poised to be the industry standard. That's powerful words right there. Industry standard as enterprises continue to adopt blockchain on a grander scale. It says here, I also think Casper has an opportunity to help change the broader narrative around blockchain. Yeah, because they're very professional. They come with technical information and explanations on the benefits of everything. Their level of professionalism, if that's expedient to use such a term, professionalism, specificity, like just from the things that I read from, like I said, I had 2 chapters in videos last week. I had to read a bunch of documents to develop those chapters and really familiarize myself with Casper. The way that they're going about business and their level of professionalism, it reminds me a lot of Quant. It does. A lot of Quant and a lot like Hedera, right? I just see them doing well. I don't hold any Casper. Like I said, these are requests, but I'm impressed with what I'm seeing. I definitely am. Just how I personally feel. You don't have to agree. All right. But let's continue on here. It says, People are spooked about cryptocurrencies, and yet there's still this great underlying efficiency that business can realize from deploying blockchain technology. Casper is helping businesses to prove this utility, something I believe will be a big part of the narrative that comes out of this current cycle. Yeah, right now, crypto is going through the fire. Everything goes through the fire. It's like initiation. I said that before. Once you come out of that fire, though, you're going to see all this love and praise. Everything that's left standing, everything that's legit and regulatory compliant has a solid use case. I don't know when, but at some point in the next maybe year or two, when there's regulatory clarity and only the legit projects are left standing, you're going to see all this praise and love rain down upon these companies, upon crypto. The stain will be removed. And then you're going to see a flood of money coming in simultaneously, because businesses separate the individuals, the people. Their minds may not be changed. It doesn't matter. The businesses are where the money is. And so when you have projects like Casper going after businesses, they're going to be very successful, in my humble opinion. They're doing a very good job. So now let's move on. Let's move on. I hope that's satisfactory. Let's move on to another article here. Okay. So a little bit more about de-dollarization. Many articles are coming out about this. So it's not just myself talking about these types of things. So it says here, this is on coinedition.com. It says experts believe de-dollarization may lead to BTC and ETH rally. Experts in the crypto space have reason to believe that the prices of major cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, may see significant rally in the near future. I can agree to that. Yes, definitely. But I also will add in there the bank coins definitely are going to benefit, especially as businesses start to jump in, commercial banks, public and private start to jump in, central banks start to jump in. Some of these bank coins are going to rise significantly. People are going to see that. And that's when it's going to be safe to put your money in. It's going to ride that wave up. But that's only if you know those catalysts. But people are going to see that price going up no matter what. Things start hitting $3, $5, $8, $10, $15, stuff like that. Definitely, people are going to those bank coins are also going to benefit from de-dollarization, right? So the US dollar has historically served as the global reserve currency. The majority of international trade is settled in USD, be it trading of oil, commodities, bilateral trade agreements, boosting forex reserves, etc. De-dollarization is the process of substituting USD as the base currency for the above mentioned transactions. Altcoin Daily pointed out in a recent YouTube video that more and more nations around the world are seeking alternatives to the US dollar. Yeah, I mean, it's being reported everywhere. We're seeing it. I'm hearing it from people on the ground are telling me what's going on in a lot of different countries. So, hey, the world is going to be a different place in a few years, in my humble opinion. But we will see. We will see. We'll adjust accordingly, and we'll just stay up to date on how everything is really going to play out. So now let's move on to another article here. Oh, so then we have this news here. This is interesting. So this is from financemagnates.com. All right. They're beginning to pump out a lot of good articles. Check them out. It's titled, Russia Indefinitely Delays Digital Ruble Pilot. I'm not so sure about the truth of this. I'm telling you, just because they say it, listen, they got a lot of conflict going on. Sometimes it pays to throw the enemy off, or maybe they're waiting for something. I don't know. We'll see. You know who has connections with Russia, right? Anyway, let's read this little tip here. The digital ruble pilot was scheduled to start on April 1st. 13 Russian banks confirmed technical readiness to participate in the program. It says Russia has delayed its planned central bank digital currency rollout without providing any further timeline. The testing of the digital ruble was scheduled to start on April the 1st. It says, according to state-owned TASS, the CBDC pilot has been canceled as the central bank is waiting to approve some of the specific legislation by the Russian State Duma, the Federal Assembly's lower house. These legislations are expected to be adopted in April and effective in May. Initially, Russia kept the CBDC pilot scheduled for 2024. However, the plans have been brought forward by a year as the Russian central bank is seeking an alternative to SWIFT payments system amid heavy economic sanctions on the country by Western governments. During the pilot, the digital ruble will be available only to a handful of program participants. This is the way they all start out, no different, and not the entire population. It will be a real-time operation on a limited scale, and the central bank will determine scaling methods based on the results. This is quite interesting in my humble opinion. I almost feel, and I could be wrong on this, I almost feel that a lot of countries in the world are waiting on something. Wink, 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 right? Certain infrastructures, wink, wink. I feel that way. I do. It's strange. So Russia puts theirs off, right? Then Japan only is, we covered this article in yesterday's video if you didn't see it. Then Japan is only working on a stable coin? Come on now. Agnostic bridge currency, world reserve currency. Who have we heard that they have ambitions for that? Trying to move all the money, but it doesn't mean they're going to move all the money. I don't know. I've heard that before in correlation with a certain protocol, but I don't know. So we'll try to stay up to date on that. Let's move on to another article here. So this article is titled, "Why Web3 Gaming is Becoming the New Hype for Serious Gamers." Now, we covered an article yesterday about Algorand. They have a game that they're working on Algorand. I was shocked. Listen, a lot of Web3 games, how do the kids say it these days? They're trash, right? Those games are trash. But this game that they were showing yesterday, I showed a little clip in the video yesterday. It was actually okay. It wasn't bad. It was looking pretty good. Anyway, let's read this little tidbit about Web3 gaming. It says, prior to the introduction of P2E gaming, the average gamer would say that they enjoy playing video games simply because they're fun. Now, Web3 adds a completely new dimension to their original experience. As Web3 gaming continues to evolve, more and more people are shifting to innovative models like play-to-earn games. That's going to be major. In fact, the main hook for seasoned gamers is their ability to merge the thrill of gaming and winning with earning money. Oh boy, I'm telling you, when Web3 gaming is up and it reaches its peak, oh, that money is going to flow. Algorand, I'm looking at you. Hedera, I'm looking at you, right? With the new Web3 landscape, the entire gaming dynamic is shifting from one that was purely creator focused to being player focused. For the first time ever, gamers now have opportunity to own in-game assets that later can be sold for profit. That is going to be huge, while earning real rewards for their success within the game. Why do I say that? You know, a long time ago when I actually was heavily into gaming, and I used to watch like people on the internet, they would play games. They would show you how to play games and stuff. And they were so popular, like their followers, subscribers, they worshiped the ground that these people walked on. That's how it seemed. And I get it. They were doing impossible things. Now imagine one of those people was like, you know what? I'm going to sell this clothing that I'm wearing in this game that I just did a crazy 360 no scope shot. Imagine they did that. The people will line up, and if they have a bidding mechanism, oh my word, the price would skyrocket. People trying to bid for that piece. It's going to get very, very interesting with these types of things going on here. All right, so now I'm going to leave that there because I have at least 3 more articles here. I do want to try to get through them as the video is already getting a little bit long here. So let's move on to another article here. So this article is titled, "Crypto Interest in Singapore Remains Strong Despite Layoffs in MAS." So let's scroll down here, read this little tidbit. Mass adoption continues around the world. It says, according to Independent Reserve's most recent study, Singapore earned 55 on the IRCI scale this year. This is a significant dip to a score of 61 last year, but a blow to cryptocurrency trust has not deterred Singaporeans from making active crypto investments. They're not going anywhere, right? So, I mean, a lot of people see what crypto is going to be, so they're staying firm, right? 46% of Singaporean crypto investors spend up to $1,000 monthly on cryptocurrencies. Nice. And 44% have at least 10% of their portfolio in the asset class. IRCI revealed 91% of respondents were aware of at least one cryptocurrency. So the rest of the world is getting ready. They're standing firm. They're ready for mass adoption. And they're looking to benefit. And still, I believe it's still early for cryptocurrencies. That's why you have so many articles saying we're still in the nascent stages. I agree with that. So these early investors may benefit if crypto does explode, may benefit from the increase in price once everything is rolled out and accepted everywhere and that money and that capital begins to flow. Once again, this article is from bncrypto.com. And now we're going to end off here, right? Just with a little bit of silver news. Now, this article is titled, I'm not going to go too deep. I just want to read the headline. Scottish Power orders $1.6 billion of offshore wind turbines from Siemens Gamesa. Why is that significant to silver? Listen, silver is already in short supply. It's a great conductor for energy. They're using silver in wind turbines. The more wind turbines these people are going to be ordering over the, wind turbines, electric vehicles, anything solar panels, they all use silver. They're gobbling that silver up. As silver becomes more rare, and listen, I haven't heard that mining has increased yet. Last I read, silver was in short supply. That means that price can go up at some point. As long as activities like this continue, silver is going to look good into the future. Not only that, but now because of harsh economic circumstances, not only have people retreated to gold, but people have also retreated to silver. That I expect to only continue as economic circumstances become even harsher in the future, especially if, and hopefully it doesn't happen, hopefully it doesn't, but especially if at some point the West is facing hyperinflation. So these are things I keep in mind. All right. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.